Dream Queen, you're in the cab with me. And we're in the book club looking at Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet on Reason and Passion. If you're just catching up with us, I'll do a really brief fill-in. If you're not familiar with Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet, you can, number one, go on over to KahlilGibran.com and learn more about the author, his work, and specifically this book, which is now in public domain. It was written 100 years ago and is still very valuable today for those spiritual seekers among us, people looking for wisdom and nice little pieces of poetry here. We started with this book back in late September. I believe I first did a show on the introduction and a bit of background on Kahlil Gibran. You can go to In the Cab Radio on Linktree and find all of the archives of the show and links to that, and you can catch up that way as well. Basically, the premise is Al-Mustafa is the name Al-Mustafa means chosen one, and he's a hermit and a sage, and he has been in the city of Orphalese for 12 years. We don't know why he was there or how old he is or anything much about him, except the people hold his intelligence in regard. And his ship is coming across the ocean to take him back home, and he begins to make his way down to the seawall and await his ship. As he's going, the citizenry who are at work in their fields and shops put down their tools and begin to follow him. The priestess, Al-Mitra, who was the first to meet Al-Mustafa when he first arrived in Orphalese, comes out of the temple into the square and asks him to share his observations with the village. The name Al-Mitra is Parsi, and it means noble or peace from Persian origin. Al-Mitra says, "Deep is your longing for the land of your memories and the dwelling place of your greater desires, and our love would not bind you, nor our needs hold you. Yet this we ask ere you leave us, that you speak to us and give us of your truth. And we will give it unto our children, and they unto their children, and it shall not perish. In your aloneness you have watched with our days, and in your wakefulness you have listened to the weeping and the laughter of our sleep. Now therefore disclose us to ourselves, and tell us all that has been shown you of that which is between birth and death." And he answered, "People of Orphalese, of what can I speak, save of that which is even now moving within your souls?" And that's from the last couple of paragraphs of The Coming of the Ship, which is the first piece in The Prophet. And I thought it might be nice just now to go back to that, because now we're here and Al-Mitra asks again. We're about halfway through the book. Several people have come forward and asked, tell us of children, speak to us of love, speak to us of buying and selling, speak to us of houses, of crime and punishment. We just finished the legal series here. Laws, crime and punishment, and freedom. And now we've arrived. And the priestess spoke again and said, "Speak to us of reason and passion." And he answered, saying, "Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite. Would that I could be the peacemaker in your soul, that I might turn the discord and the rivalry of your elements into oneness and melody. But how shall I, unless you yourselves be also the peacemakers, nay, the lovers of all your elements. Your reason and your passion are the rudder and the sails of your seafaring soul. If either your sails or your rudder be broken, you can but toss and drift, or else be held at a standstill in mid-seas. For reason, ruling alone, is a force confining, and passion unattended is a flame that burns to its own destruction. Therefore, let your soul exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it may sing. And let it direct your passion with reason, that your passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix, rise above its own ashes. I would have you consider your judgment and your appetite, even as you would two loved guests in your house. Surely you would not honor one guest above the other, for he who is more mindful of one loses the love and the faith of both. Among the hills, when you sit in the cool shade of the white poplars, sharing the peace and serenity of distant fields and meadows, then let your heart say in silence, God rests in reason. And when the storm comes and the mighty wind shakes the forest, and thunder and lightning proclaim the majesty of the sky, then let your heart say in awe, God moves in passion. And since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. Kahlil Gibran on Reason and Passion from The Prophet, published by Alfred A. Knopf way back in 1923. And there's not much I can tell you, much like Al-Mustafa, that you don't already know within your soul. Sometimes y'all, I go back and I listen to these and I'm like, man, I hope that y'all don't feel like I'm being condescending or anything up here, I'm just sharing some insights. And some of this just seems so familiar, especially these days. I know you probably feel it. Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite. And I appreciate the next lines that Kahlil Gibran, it seems like so much he cared about people, much like in the previous book club we talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, how much he cared about not only our physical bodies, because he very much did want people to have housing and food and clothes and health care and livable wages. He also cared about our immortal souls and our morals as a collective humanity, how we treat each other. And Bell Hooks, the first that we covered in the book club, all about love, new visions, she unveils to us how she was thought foolish because of her search for love, and her search for love transcended, she realized, the romantic notion and how to bring all of humanity together so that we can evolve and have better life for all. And I see the same here with Gibran. Would that I could be the peacemaker in your soul, that I might turn the discord and rivalry of your elements into oneness and melody. But how shall I, unless you yourselves be also the peacemakers, nay, the lovers of all your elements. It's a collective experience to be on earth and live together amongst such hardship. And I feel like, me personally, like I get really frustrated because of the tragedy of our society's oppression and habits. One would say appetites. And how fulfilling those come at the cost of our neighbors, of our fellow humans, let alone other life forms. And would that I could just wave a magic wand and correct all of this for us. My reasonable mind knows that we are here, each moving at our own pace through every trauma that we've had to experience stacked up. If you haven't had any trauma, good for you, okay? If you think you haven't had any trauma, I suggest maybe you should peel back a couple layers. But if you don't want to, see, that's where I can't tell you what to do. My reason knows this. However, my passion, I just want to shake people. I just want to shake them. Can't you see? But then my reason is like, you can't go around shaking people. And then that's when I call out, like Gibran suggests, like Michelle Ndegeocello suggests. And like her lyrics say, finding all things wearisome, unsatisfied, my eyes not satisfied with seeing, my ears unsatisfied with hearing, wondering of that which is now, that which has been, and that which is to be. Free my heart so my soul may fly. And the album is Peace Beyond Passion. Peace beyond passion. Reason and passion being in balance here in the Gibran piece. So I, in myself, try to ask for help in finding the balance and the elevation of both. That my passion, that my work, that the things that drive me stay pure within the confines of what I understand to be true. Not so base and fiery that it burns out. Because I don't think that any of us need our passion for life, for love, for justice, for truth, for freedom, for a livable life. Our passion and our desire for that should not burn out. That's my personal belief. But it will if that's the only thing that drives us is this must have it now. That's when it becomes an insatiable appetite that can consume the reasonable mind, which as human beings, I believe we're always in constant battle with, to elevate ourselves, to make sense, to tame our desires in a way that just to temper them in a way that can be inclusive. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on in the world today. I feel like this little book, I can often draw parallels between what's happening in our political world, our collective reality, and how to, sew these topics in together. And I just have to be honest, I'm having some trouble this week. I'm very tired. And I don't know if y'all are too. I mean, I can dip back into the astrology, but I don't know. It's just like a collective horror, anxiety, and then it crescendos into an apathy and a malaise. this the adrenaline rush that comes through staying informed that heightens our nervous system's reaction to such a point that burnout can happen so quickly within a few moments. Our passion for justice can go like I think about the magician's paper or cotton. I don't know if y'all are ever familiar with that. Is the thing that it's like a little pyrotechnic, and you can light this on fire and it just makes a little poof that you used to be able to see old school magicians do, or and it just takes a tiny spark and then it just goes up really fast and nothing is singed and nothing is changed, but you get this little fireball. And I feel that when I don't know what to do about how to help the world, and then my passion begins to wane. I don't let it go completely out. I kind of putter along with it, as you're observing here on this radio show. But I believe we can get through all of this if we direct our passion with reason, as Gibran suggests, that our passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix, rise above its own ashes. Do we think that do we think our culture can rise above its own ashes? The thing about a phoenix, they go through a cycle. And I wonder right now of America, how many times we have to do this. I'm very proud of the people who are acting within reason. I try to maintain a certain amount of patience for people in politics, because our society is built around them, and we depend on good people to make good decisions, to use their reason. Over the past couple of years, in this iteration of the internet, we've seen senators and representatives threaten to fistfight each other on the floor. To watch two men of such station say, let's take it outside. And they still serve us without reason, with passion and no reason. Fascists, zealotry, appetite of lust for everything, so that you have it all and other people have none. And we're watching our society unravel, being led with people who don't seem to be using reason, but they sure have a lot of passion. And I'm waiting for it to burn out. I look at it and I say, man, this can't go at this pace. It's impossible for this to be sustainable. However, history has shown us that with enough people on board, fascism can go on for decades. We have a complex situation here in America, and I think there are a lot of people who want to do what's right. On the surface, they want to be fair, they want equity, but they still don't understand what that looks like. So my quest is to continue to humanize each other and break old habits so that we could continue to spiral towards better humanity and a better world, instead of repeating the same loop. The things that were okay yesterday are not okay today, because we are moving toward a better world. Okay? I don't know. That's my hope. I think it's very interesting. Like I said, some of these poems from Gibran, they seem to walk together. The next piece, a woman says, tell us of pain. And I think reason and passion are directly connected to pain, because it's through our desire, that unfulfilled need, that can bring about pain. And then we act without reason. I think a lot of work today is around pain management. It's just coming to me about the analogy of the healthcare system. Many of us are sick, diseased, in a state of disease. I'll say that. I don't want to say sick. I would say we're in a state of disease. And maybe physically you're doing all right, but emotionally you're in a disease. Because and that's okay, because how many people, how are you going to not be in disease in this world today? You've either got a really great spiritual practice, or you're not paying attention. And that's when I really get frustrated, when my disease overwhelms me and my friends, we're all overwhelmed, and it seems like they're winning. And I don't know really what to say about that, except I fancy myself a phoenix. I come from a line of phoenixes. I bet you do too. So, sit in the cool shade of the white poplars. We just remember that there's things that are bigger than us. Bigger than us. Keep doing the right thing, you guys. Thanks for being here with me and my babbling on in Babylon. Babbling on in Babylon. Check out The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. I'm just looking at my pages right now, and it's pretty clear. We can't be all passion, and we can't be all reason. And I want to say to my people who are all reason, free your heart. Free your heart. It's a lesson for me too. Everything doesn't have to be so logical. I'm looking at this stellium of celestial objects hanging out here in Pisces today. And if you find yourself feeling a little emotional, more than usual, we also just had this new moon. Maybe just let it go, let it cry. And those of you who are all fire, you have no problem feeling your feelings and acting on them. Take a breath. Take a breath. That's all I got. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you. So much gratitude here. So much gratitude. Keep on keeping on. In the Cab Radio is produced by Jada White, aka Dream Queen. Original theme music produced by Baby Weekend Boys and Icky Mac the Beat Jugular. Learn more at In the Cab Radio at Linktree. Thank you so much for tuning in.